So the mini series Adolescence, it has definitely been gaining a lot of notoriety. If you haven't watched it, I really suggest you watch it. It is on Netflix. It's a mini series of four different episodes. Nothing happens in chronological order or anything like that. But essentially, in short, what the mini series does is it highlights the nuance based upon the fact that young boys are taking in certain types of content, which tends to be more of this manosphere, red pill type of content, and essentially how this content, in addition to patriarchy, in addition to the standards that masculinity places on young boys by grown adult men, how it in turn affects them and how they struggle with their identity and essentially how this is a byproduct of how they treat women, how they look at women, in addition to how they look at men, and then also how fatherhood, excuse me, how fatherhood also plays a role into this. I'm praying they don't kick me off the live stream. I'm really praying that they don't kick me off the live stream because you all know how these manosphere people can be. However, this content creator, Manosphere Highlights Daily, pretty much like did a synopsis through his Manosphere lens. And so the reception from the Red Pill and Manosphere, it hasn't been good. It's just a prime example of them not wanting to take accountability and them not wanting to pretty much understand and look at how this content can be harmful and how young boys are watching this content and it is making them think a certain way. Femicide has gone up since 2020. That was when the panini happened, and then that was also when Mr. Kevin Samuels had a strong rise to, I guess, fame, as you could say, online through social media on YouTube. And femicide has been going up pretty much ever since the panini and this content has been out. So let's go on ahead and get into it. Also, do not forget to press the thumbs up for me, like the live stream for me right when you guys come in. Also, please subscribe. When you subscribe, click the notification bell. That way you all get notified every time that I do a live stream. If you want exclusive content regarding pretty much dark manipulation, dark femininity, how to play the game so you don't get played, you can go over onto Patreon and you all can join me over on Patreon for exclusive content over there. So let's go on ahead and let's get in.
What's an 80-20 thing? Where 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men.
80% of women are attracted to 20% of men.
She's pretending like I'm part of one of those truth groups. What truth groups?
It's a call to action by the Manosphere. Manosphere.
I told you so. For everyone in the comment section saying, it's just a movie, when we break down films from a rapper perspective, wake up. It's not just a movie. It's not just a movie. Art imitates life. And through art, people shape your thoughts, influence your feelings, and redefine your values. If you can't see that, you are asleep. Take your Red Pill vitamins and start paying attention. That's why we're here. And that's why you've been flooding us with messages to review this miniseries, Adolescence, because you know this needs a real breakdown. Not some content farmer nodding for 15 minutes, adding no value, and even worse, diluting the message. What do you think happens when people watch this for the first time?
It's a call to action by the Manosphere. Manosphere.
They're going to look it up online, and the first thing they'll find, a flood of websites, including Wikipedia, framing the Manosphere as nothing more than a breeding ground for misogyny. Then they'll head to YouTube, and what will they see? An endless stream of women hitting the wall videos, out of context, reaction clips, and content designed for clicks rather than real discussion. And just like that, the message gets distorted. The real conversations about masculinity, self-improvement, and the struggles men face get buried under the pile of clickbait and misrepresentation.
So the issue that I have with that narrative is that the way that an algorithm works, the things that are pretty much it's all based on SEO, right? Which means that that is what people are looking up. When you look up all of these Manosphere content creators, so this creator, MTR, Ask an Old Man, Tate, FNF. When you look at their content, what majority is their message? Their majority of their message is talking about women hitting the wall, women's standards are too high, women, there's a small amount of women or a small amount of men that women go to. They like 20% of the men, 80% of the women like 20% of the men. The reason why all of that stuff is coming up is because that's what people are watching. The algorithm is just a reflection. Everything that's popping out is a reflection of what the algorithm is, pretty much what people are searching the most. So it's not like there's this large attempt where all of the things to help these men become better people, it's not like all of those things are getting buried. The content creators are burying it themselves, because that does not make up the majority of where they get their clicks and their views. Like, I went on this guy's platform and looked. Most of his stuff is always talking about women hitting the wall, women getting played, women regretting divorce, women getting older. That's majority of what his content is covering. So you can't sit here and say, oh, well, 90% of my 90% of the content that I make is talking about all of this stuff, and it's the internet's fault why it's not showing 10% of what it is. The Patreon is linked in my description, and it's linked in every description on just about every video, and it's also in my biography. I don't have the Discord yet.
That's why context matters. It's why we break down media like this, because if we don't, they will control the narrative for us. Remember, guys, this is a conversation. You don't have to agree with everything we present in our videos. The point is to think for yourself and sharpen your critical thinking. That's what the Red Pill is about. Now let's get into it. Quick note, to give you the best experience without copyright interruptions, our full uncut content is available on Patreon. So if you enjoy our content and want the full experience, support us on Patreon. Patreon gang, salute! Spoiler alert, where credit is due. Adolescence is shot beautifully. Everything is done in a single take, pulling you in and making you feel like you're right there. There's no cutting away, no distractions, just raw, unfiltered storytelling. Even the ride to the police station, a full 4 minutes, feels real because it's not chopped up or rushed. The casting, spot on. These aren't Hollywood stereotypes. They look like real people, which makes everything feel even more authentic. And let's be honest, the story itself is gripping, is believable, and it keeps you hooked. All right, movie talk over. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
The acting in this miniseries really was incredible. It honestly really was. All of the acting was really good. It really did evoke a strong emotion, and it really did feel like you were just there, like kind of living in the miniseries, because as he said, it all was shot in one entire cut. The acting was incredible. I mean, they really, really did a good job on them casting. And it really just feeling authentic. It really just feeling real.
Potatoes.
You've seen what she wrote.
I have. Okay.
Looks like she'd be nice, right?
Isn't she?
The dynamite. What do you think that means?
I don't know.
Listen, that's blowing a red pill. Pills, the blue pills means you see the world as it wants you to.
That's from The
What's
Matrix. You've been watching The Matrix?
What?
Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. Carry on.
Matrix.
Carry on.
The red pill is like, I see the truth. It's a call to action by the Manosphere.
Manosphere.
A call to action by the Manosphere. Exactly. The Red Pill isn't just about awareness. It's about doing something with that awareness. But here's the question. What action? For some men, the action is self-improvement. Hitting the gym, making money, gaining status, and becoming the best version of themselves. For others, it's avoidance. Walking away from relationships entirely or rejecting traditional dating norms. And for others, it's activism. Fighting for men's rights, calling out double standards, or influencing younger men through content creation.
No offense, but where is the activism? Where is the activism? I don't see men going out and marching for anything. I don't see men going out and standing up for anything. I don't see men going to the court offices, trying to dismantle child support, all of these things. I don't see them going to town hall meetings or anything like that. What activism are these men actively doing? Inquiring minds would love to know. The only activism that I see is them just getting on the internet complaining about things, but I don't see any activism. So, and honestly, if we're going to talk about self-improvement, the reason why these men are partaking in self-improvement is because they realize that they're going to pretty much keep getting rejected by women. And so they really have no choice but to just be like, you know what? And this is only a small majority. Like, this is a very, very small majority. Essentially the self-improvement is just rooted in the fact that, oh, like, I can't stop getting rejected. No one is paying attention to me. So essentially, I'm just gonna like hit the gym and like crack a ton of eggs and drink a ton of eggs and like just hang out with a ton of men and play video games. And that's essentially it. And then the men that are improving, they're improving to get a woman. They want to get the gym. They want to go to the gym so that way they can look good for a woman, to get a woman's attention. They want to start making all this money because they want to be able to attract more women. So it isn't like a lot of these men are doing this by choice. They're either doing it because they are not getting access to women like at all, like they're constantly being rejected, or they're only improving so that they can get women.
But here's the truth. You're not supposed to stay in rebel rage. How many women hitting the wall videos did you watch this week? Let's take it a step further.
But also, as a content creator, how many women hitting the wall videos are you creating? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, they're trying to, I feel like that's kind of like a victim blaming take, right? Like, oh, well, I'm creating 90% of this content to pretty much evoke an emotion, to get these men enraged, to get these men upset with women. And even though I'm making the content, now I'm blaming the men for watching the content that I am creating. Why aren't you trying to find the 10% of content that I make that talks about your self-improvement? I don't even think these men are even telling men to go to therapy. I don't even think these men are telling other men to unpack their childhood trauma, go get a psychology evaluation, like go unpack the things that are hurting them, be honest with their sexuality. These male content creators that are doing this stuff they're not saying these things. Also, the thing too, like with this type of content, when it is made, they always like to do it in clips and they never want to give any context. If you have not watched the mini series of Adolescence, I'm going to be spoiling it for you. So if you don't want to get anything spoiled, then yeah, you probably shouldn't watch the video. But essentially, that first clip, that it's a father and a son, and the father is actually like, he's not a police officer, but he's like a detective, like the head detective. And his son goes to the school where where the victim of a crime went to that school. She was like a couple years younger than him. And that boy gets bullied. And so they show a scene where like he's got like bullies that are like putting like their balled up like chip bags on his tray, and then he's trying to put his food and throw it away, and then the kids going ahead and they gang up on him. So the kid is being bullied at school. And I've even seen this in my own family with my dad and with my brother. And essentially his dad was the cool kid. His dad was in sports. His dad was able to get a whole lot of women. And so essentially his dad, he doesn't know any of this, like, red pill manosphere things, because they're trying to figure out a motive as to why the kid that went to the school took the life of a girl that went to that school, because they have it on CCTV that they know exactly who the perpetrator was. And so essentially the son is trying to explain to his dad that he was the boy that committed the crime was rejected. And pretty much upon her getting her life taken from this boy, she pretty much was calling him an incel. She pretty much had rejected him and called him an incel. And so he's trying to explain to his dad, like, this is like what is happening, but his father is not really able to understand the totality of this. And he is not really able to create a safe space for his son because he doesn't understand what it feels like to get bullied. He doesn't understand what it feels like to get rejected by women. And so they made sure that they put fathers at the forefront of the miniseries, because really what the miniseries is trying to explain and evoke is that men who are fathers, they don't understand how they are subconsciously upholding patriarchal and misogynistic views. And when their sons don't fit into this mold that patriarchy has presented and created for them, the males in their life don't know how to parent their own sons when they don't fit this mold. And so this is in turn what happens when they are young boys, when they are not the macho man, machismo, jock, ladies man type of person.
Which is where the 100 comes in, the 80 to 20 rule.
Adam, listen. My brain can't take all this. I don't know what you're talking about. Just break it down.
80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. Woman, you must trick them because you'll never get them in a normal way. 80% of women are cut off, or she's saying he's an incel, that.
So I want you to pay attention to what he just said, what that young boy just said. He literally said that you will never be able to get these women in a normal way. And this is why I always say that men are, when a man is approaching you, the first thing that you should be looking for is, how is he manipulating me? What manipulative tactics is he using to get to me? Because men understand subconsciously they're not the value. Men understand on a deep level that in most cases they're going to get rejected. No one is going to like them for who they are. They're not going to be able, no one is going to look up, bat an eye at them if they don't have money, if they don't have status or anything like that. And so essentially what they have to do is they have to trick women into getting them to like them. And essentially this content that the Manosphere creates, when they do this 80-20 rule, it allows these men to have a lot of self-loathing. Men that are self-loathing are very, very dangerous. Okay. Men that can't take a compliment, men that are very insecure, men that are always, woe is me, I can't get a date, I can't get a girlfriend, etc., etc. Those men are very, very dangerous. And so essentially this whole 80-20 thing, it puts men in a victim mentality. Now, am I going to sit here and say that the 80-20 thing is true? No, I'm not going to say that the 80-20 thing is true. However, what I will always stand by is that men want women more than women want men. That's just the cold hard truth of it all. And the reason why is because we're the value. There is no other way to put it. And the issue is that patriarchy has lied to these men and they want to take it out on women, but it's like they're being told that they're the value, they're the prize, they're the ones that get to pick. And then they're realizing, oh shit, like I can't even get a date, I can't get a text back, like I can't even like have one girl get carried over from like 3, 4, 5 dates. And so they're having a lot of cognitive dissonance because they're realizing that what they've been told and how their real life is looking, it is not matching. Where are the likes at? Because I'm gonna put the live on. I'm gonna put the live on ice if we're not at 45 likes. So make sure you guys hit the thumbs up when you guys come in. Also subscribe if you all have not subscribed. And do not forget to join my Patreon if you want to learn the game, so that way you don't get played and you learn how to play it. Oh, 53 likes. All right, we're good. But yeah, don't forget to hit that thumbs up for me. Let's see what else he has to say here.
He's 13. How can you be involuntary celibate at 13?
I know.
He wasn't celibate at 13, huh?
She say anyways, Obi. That's what they say, you're an incel. You can be a virgin forever, basically. And all those people have heard, which means they're agreeing with her.
Okay. So this is bullying. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch, but...
Don't believe me then.
No, I'm not saying I don't believe you.
This is pure gold. All right, let's start here. Women, you must trick them because you'll never get them in a normal way. Partially true. You do not have to trick women. You shouldn't. That's a short-term, low-value strategy that will only hurt you in the long run. But here's the reality. Getting with modern women in a quote-unquote normal way is increasingly difficult. The 80-20 rule has shifted. It's more like 90-10 now. And
here's the thing. This 90-20, 80-20 thing, a lot of it is a projection. Okay. And he even admitted that men are not going to be able to get modern women in a normal way. a lot of this is a projection because when it comes to how men are in relationships, men are usually always going to leave a woman for another woman, right? Men can't fathom the idea that women won't be in a rush or won't be in a hurry to leave a man and then go deal with another man, because in most cases that woman has endured some type of trauma. No one wants to touch a hot stove twice when they've been burned already. No one wants to do that. And so essentially, they're in their head, they're trying to make it seem as if, oh, well, the reason why these women are just occupying their time with other men. A lot of these men don't realize that, no, a lot of women are occupying their time with other women or with themselves. They're not going all to the same, they're not all these 80% of women, they're not going to the 20% of men. There's nothing to go to. There's nothing worth going to. And that's the thing that they don't ever want to admit. That's the thing they don't ever want to expose. There's not enough worth in modern men for them to be worth going to. They aren't offering anything. They aren't all that great to be around. You're not going to gain anything from them. But because they're so self-loathing and because they have it in their mind that they're such a nice guy, they're such a good guy, they're such a great person, they keep lying to themselves in this delusion instead of realizing that no one wants to go to you guys, and there's reasons for that.
It's because of social media. Adam tells his detective father that the crime is influenced by Instagram. We made this must-watch video of an average-looking 15-year-old girl getting hundreds of guys in her DMs. What do you think this?
Now, I'm sorry, but I feel like that's like very rude and very mean to come after a 15-year-old girl saying that she looks average, especially when you're doing this on a whole mini series when they're talking about boys bullying boys. This girl is a minor, and so for you to jab at a minor and she's 15 years old, that's honestly disgusting. Like that's really low level scumbag behavior.
Does to her psyche.
So essentially he's upset because at 15 years old a girl has value. That's all that is. That's why he's saying, how dare she be average and she gets attention? It's because women are the value. Men, they want us. We don't want them. We don't want to be near them. We don't want to talk to them. We don't want to associate with them. Like, that's what that is. And so essentially he's trying to say, well, her head is big. Her head is big because she's getting all this attention. At the end of the day, it's no different than when the top qualified person for a job is most likely going to get the most calls for interviews. The person that has the most connections is going to get the most offers. It's no different. When you have value as a woman, you have value, you're going to have more options. Don't hate the player, hate the game. We don't make the rules. It is not our fault. It is not our fault that the men want us and the men will DM us. They will literally DM themselves. Like, men will literally DM themselves. The woman will not respond at all. And they'll just be, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I'm sure every woman on social media has that one guy in her DMs. You will not respond to him. He will keep on going and going and going and going. We won't even respond. And somehow it's our fault. Somehow it's making our head big. We're not responding for a reason. Probably a good 2% of men that are DMing women actually get play. The attention and the validation from these men is worthless.
She just laughed and said, "Oh, I'm not that desperate."
And the emoji messages came after that.
Yeah.
She laughed. Now let's show you how this plays out in real life.
Just thought I would say you're perfect. Like, holy, you're super pretty and seem to have great vibes. So if you get this, I really like. How would someone like myself go about getting the attention of a girl as pretty as you? Hey, you so pretty. Not with an R, with a W. Honestly, you are very attractive and looks super kind. Hope you have a good day. But I just want to say you're amazingly attractive. Oh, I'm amazingly attractive? Yo, I saw you on my For You page and thought you was mad pretty. What is it with guys saying mad? Like, I just don't. Mad pretty. Mad.
You see? Hundreds of guys in her DMs. She sees it as a joke.
Because it is. Because it is a joke. Men DMing women like this is like literally someone offering you a McDonald's, like 15 McDonald's burgers every day. Like, oh, here's a McDonald's burger, here's a McDonald's burger, here's a McDonald's burger, and you already ate. I already ate. I'm not hungry. And the last thing that I fucking want is a McDonald's burger. And when you're constantly offering me these burger after burger after burger and I'm not hungry, it's annoying. It's absolutely annoying. And it gets to the point where when you're constantly getting this repeated, it lowers their value. Men already don't have value. And so when men are constantly coming over here, coming in our space, hopping in the DM, it lowers their value because they're all saying the same thing. They're all taking the same bummy ass pictures. They don't look good on their profile. What is there to want? What is there about these men to get us to want to message them back? There's nothing. And a lot of this has to do with the inflated ego that a lot of men have that has been built under patriarchy, because they think that there are these great, wonderful, grandiose people and that they are entitled to our energy. I always say being a woman, and especially being a beautiful woman, beauty is currency. You being a woman already holds currency, but you being a young woman, you being a beautiful woman, I always like to use this because some man tried to come at me and he was like, yeah, but you get a ton of messages. And I said, when you are a woman and you are a beautiful woman, essentially, I told this man, I said, I want you to imagine this. Imagine that you have $1 million, like you have $1 million attached to your body, and you have to publicly go out with $1 million attached to your body. Anyone can ask you for the money. Like, everyone knows that you have the money attached to you, and any person can ask you for your money. And you don't know what these people are going to do to you if you tell them no, because they can grab the money, they can harm you to take the money. That's what it's like being a woman. You have currency attached to you that everyone knows that you have, and everyone feels like they're entitled to it. And then if they don't get it, they are going to feel some type of way, or they may go as far as to harm you because you're not giving it to them.
Until this happens.
I personally have been cheated on. Granted, I was in a situation, it was a situation specifically where I was with somebody that I did not really like. I think I was in it for the wrong reasons. He was someone that I was really attracted to. I was just getting started on Instagram. He had 11,000 followers at the time, and I was like, whoa, like this guy's legit. And he was just a total bodybuilding bro. OG subscribers might actually remember him. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't even want to give him the time of day.
This proves the point. Normal isn't good enough anymore.
Normal never was good enough. It never was good enough. The only way that normal was good enough was to oppress women. That's it. The only way that women were okay with normal was because they didn't have any money. They didn't have a bank account. They couldn't vote. They couldn't buy a house. They couldn't take out a business loan. Normal has never gotten men anyway on a level playing field. So this is why they get so mad, and they think that, oh, they can call us modern women and it's going to make us be offended. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that when we're on as close to a level playing field as we can, it's easier for us to see the flaws in men that women who were pretty much subjugated to deal with them had to look over. And this woman choosing a man off of physicality has nothing to do with it. At the end of the day, a man's not going to talk to a woman if he is not physically attracted to her. And if he does talk to a woman that he's not physically attracted to, better believe he is with her gaining something. She's giving him money. She's giving him a place to stay. She's cooking for him. She's cleaning for him. They're not going to give a woman the attention that they're not physically attracted to. And I don't see them showing any videos of there being success of a woman dealing with an ugly man. Because when a woman says, you know what, I wasn't really that attracted to my husband, they get on the internet bitching and complaining. Oh, I would divorce her if she said that she wasn't attracted to me. So you're going to shame a woman because she dealt with a man that she was attracted to. And then when there's women out here getting married to men that they're not physically attracted to, you're mad at that. Men are not attractive. Most men are not attractive, and more women need to start reminding men of this. Men do not have the ability to leverage beauty because they don't have it. Most women don't look at men in awe on a day-to-day basis and say, oh my God, he's so handsome. Oh my God, he's so buff. Oh my gosh, he looks so good. That is something that is very, very valuable. Beauty is a value in a man because of how rare it is. So he doesn't have to have a whole lot of money because he has beauty. Just like how the men that don't have beauty, they have a whole lot of money. Men aren't able to be the full package like women can. They don't have that ability. Only women have that ability. And they don't like it when you use that ability because they know when you're a well-rounded person, you have the beauty, the money, you won't need them for anything. They understand that they are useless to you when you are well-rounded. Either you want to be, and then they get mad, they will lead with money and then say, well, I want someone to want me for who I am. But you're leading with money, and you know you're leading with money because you know that the person that you are is not a good person. You know that you don't have any value or any worth to just be 100% authentic with who you are as a person, which is why you have to lead with money. Their ego is way too fragile. They're way too sensitive.
Take a look at this graph. Only 15.21% have 10K to 50K followers. Having 10K followers is not normal. We made a video about,
which in turn increases a man's value. Just like how they want a woman with a body count of 0, that's not normal. That's why they deem that as valuable. That's why they want women with a low body count because it's not a common thing. Women look at it the exact same way. Women want men that are rare. All these men are fat, they got a gut, they're not good looking. So of course a woman wants to be with a man who is attractive. He goes to the gym, he takes care of himself, he knows how to dress because that is rare.
Harry Sisson, a guy who is in the chat, but practically is because he has almost 2 million followers on TikTok. And guess what? Women follow success.
I'm going to try to get through this without crying.
I knew that this guy was a player. We started talking like 2 years ago.
If he had flat told us, hey, I am talking to other people. When we asked, when all like a fucking dozen of us asked, hey, are you talking to anybody? Instead,
So I watched this video yesterday. I watched this video yesterday from this content creator. That was really just a case of young girls who are too dumb and stupid to realize that a man that has 1 million followers or over 1 million followers on social media is going to be talking to multiple people. Of course he's going to play the game. He is a man. So I attribute a lot of this stuff, at least for this video. It's really just lack of knowledge in not understanding male nature and not understanding that. Why would a man tell you that he's talking to 10 other people? Why would he tell you that? So that way he has no one else to talk to. This is just the growing pains of being a young woman when you start dealing with men.
lied and said he did not have a roster and that he was not talking to anybody.
So if average women are getting attention from high status men, what happens when a guy with 200 followers approaches them?
She just laughed and said, oh, I'm not that desperate.
Exactly.
I find it so funny that they blame the woman. He's blaming the woman for deciding that I'm not that desperate. That's what a man is thinking. You think a 600-pound woman, she's sweating all over the place. She smells horrible, face full of acne. You think that if she approaches a man, he's not thinking to himself, well, I'm not that desperate. Come on. They're making it seem as if they are out here dealing with the most unattractive, the most overweight. And these are the same men who create content saying, you got to be fit, feminine, friendly. All these women are overweight. All these women are obese. All these women are broke. So you can sit here and have all these standards for what men desire in women, and pretty much saying that, well, you all aren't matching and you all aren't doing what we want you to do, but we have to take pity on you and feel bad for you and date you and give you our number and deal with you out of pity, essentially. So because we don't want to tolerate looking at a booger wolf every day, because we don't want to tolerate clocking in and clocking out when we're 9 months pregnant, and then you lose your job on purpose, and then now we have to take care of a man and a child at the same time, and clean up and clean. Oh, there's something wrong with us.
What do the kidney beans mean? They're kidney beans, right? She's pretending like I'm part of one of those truth groups. What truth groups? The ones that say that women don't want us, we don't care. Are you part of those? No. But you know what they say? Yeah, because everyone kept on going on about with incel stuff, so I had a look, but I didn't like it.
And was you being an incel what she was saying with all of these?
Yeah.
Back in the day, incels were called TFLers, true force loneliness. That term was harder to weaponize, so it didn't carry the same stigma.
Okay, no. So incel actually did not start that way. Incel actually was a gender neutral term. Actually, a woman, it didn't even come from anything dealing with sex. It came nothing dealing with sex. It was a term that was created in the 90s by a woman, and it was pretty much people were saying that she created a chat room for people who were essentially just lonely, who didn't have anyone to talk to. So essentially what she did was she had created a chat room, right? That turned into men self-loathing, just like how they do in the Manosphere, just like how they do in Red Pill. Men turned that into self-loathing to bond over the fact that they did not have any sexual partners that wanted them. And so I think originally the woman, it was incel, it was INVCEL, and then it got turned into incel because it was easier to say. And I don't even think it was involuntary celibate. It was something else that they used. Kind of like how he's saying true force loneliness, but men are the ones who rebranded the term incel as when you are a man that is involuntary celibate. Men were the ones that created that and turned it into that, because that's not what it started out as.
Now, incel has been twisted into an insult, a way to shame men.
You one-eyed incel dweeb, I swear I'll kill you!
Who is your market?
Lonely people, virgins, incels.
This isn't new. Men have always been shamed for struggling with women, but today it's weaponized.
And women have had the same thing. You a spinster. Like, I'm so sick of this victimization, as if men are just the only gender on the planet who have to undergo bullying, who have to undergo name calling. I think the biggest thing is it's always this victimizing. Oh my goodness, you called me an incel. Oh my God, okay. They've been using the term spinster since like the 1800s. They've been using that term for such a long time to shame women into getting married young, into having children young. And using that term to fearmonger women when their brain isn't fully developed. That way they can drink the Kool-Aid and give these average men access to them. Nature is always going to return to its natural form. And this is a sign of things returning back to natural order.
It's not just teasing anymore. It's demonization.
We got all that Instagram stuff wrong.
What do you mean?
Katie was bullying Jamie.
Oh no.
That's what it was. Incel stuff, you know what that is.
Now, I wonder, I'm going to see if he's going to bring this part up before I bring it up. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I highly doubt he's going to do it because there's a narrative that he's trying to push.
Yeah, I do. No, I don't know what that is. What is it? It's the involuntary celibate stuff. It's the Andrew Tate shite. Oh, fucking hell. I've heard the boys talking about him.
See that? Any man who speaks up is instantly labeled dangerous, misogynistic, or a failure. But shaming men for struggling doesn't fix the struggle.
So, of course, in good old fashion, of course, he left out a very important part that he purposely left out. That boy was the one that committed the crime. The girl that he ended up unaliving, her topless photos were leaked around the whole school. And mind you, they're 13. These kids are 13 years old. Her topless photo got leaked around the whole entire school. And that little boy that committed the crime literally said that he felt like because she was weaker and because he felt as though because she was flat-chested, no one else was going to want her, he thought that she would be an easier target in order to ask her out. He wanted to ask her out to like a festival or a fair or something like that. And so that's when he asked her, and she said, "Oh, I'm not that desperate." So essentially, he was trying to weaponize her trauma of her photos being circulated in school. And so because he got rejected, that's why he took her life. And that's the part that he conveniently is leaving out, that this 13-year-old topless pictures went around the whole goddamn school and everyone was talking about her and making fun of her.
Struggle. If you tell a starving man he's pathetic for being hungry, does that feed him? No. That's why so many men check out. They either with
Only half of single men are actively seeking relationships or even casual dates, according to Pew. The figure is declining. Well, yeah, because they're realizing that in most cases they're going to get rejected. Like, I don't know what to tell them. Like, they're not doing anything to be desirable. That's how nature works. That's how nature works. A bird, a peacock, when it's showing off its feathers, it can't go up to the female peacock and be like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you like my feathers?" No, the peacock is just going to be like, "Okay, I'm not going to have her as a mate. Let me go try with another person," and so on and so forth. And if it doesn't work, then that species is going to die out. That is nature.
draw completely, lash out in frustration, or find ways to adapt, sometimes in unhealthy ways. And that brings us to the bigger question. Why are so many young men searching for guidance in the first place? Because the institutions that were supposed to provide it have failed them. Take school for
The institutions that were created by men have failed them. These male-created institutions have failed these men. And I didn't watch this whole thing. I highly doubt he's going to talk about the father of the child that committed this crime. I highly doubt it.
For example, boys aren't listening in class, but they're listening to Andrew Tate. Why? Because school doesn't speak to them. It's out.
No, they don't do well in school. They don't do well in school. Young boys do not have as much fundamental processing in their brain like young girls do. When a boy and a girl are both born, as a newborn, a girl is already developmentally 6 weeks ahead of a newborn boy. They say women mature at 30. They say on average, men mature at 43. And that's if they had a fairly decent upbringing. The class clown is always a boy. The person that's talking back the most is always a boy. At most, girls just have to get their seats changed because they're talking too much in class. But the pranks, the disrespect, the spit wads, that's usually boys doing that. Boys are usually the ones getting kicked out of class because they're disruptive, they're immature, they're remedial.
Dated, uninspiring, and designed for a world that no longer exists.
He said a world that no longer exists, aka a world that coddled boys and men. That's what the world was that he's talking about, where women had no rights and we were all divided and separated, and only men could go to school, only men could go to college, only men could get a job.
Reading your school reports, right? Yeah. Jamie was a good student, yeah? Would you like to talk out here? Yeah, yeah. I want to know, is there any signs of unhappiness?
I'm just a tutor.
Well, you're a teacher.
Yeah, but I teach history. I don't see him, you know. I want to know, you know. Look, man, these kids are impossible. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
Do you know what? I honestly can't stand this place.
We're only here because you wanted to come, mate.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, does it look like anyone's learning anything in there to you? It just looks like a holding pen. Videos in every class. Mr. Mallet just walking in and out when he wants. And you said it smells.
You know, just stink. All skills stink.
The old formula: go to school, get a degree.
Once again, so now he's trying to blame the teachers. Now he's trying to blame the school administrations as if those are the parents. And then people are wondering why people are leaving the field of teaching. People are leaving the career of teaching because of this bullshit. It's the institution. It's the institution. No, it's capitalism. It's the reason why two parents both have to work while their child goes to school or while their child has to go to daycare, and they've worked 8 hours, 8+ hours. Then they have to allocate another 2 to 4 hours to pick the kid up from school, cook, clean, get the kid, do as much as they can if they're doing anything with their schoolwork, and then get them ready for bed and then do it all over again. We aren't even in a society where parents are able to be parents, while simultaneously telling women that they need to have more children. That we are in a birth rate decline. But you're going to blame the system. But you're going to blame the system for why the parents aren't available. The school system for why parents aren't available. Because that teacher is absolutely right. I'm not there. I can't be there all the time. These teachers get 1 or 2 hours with these children, and you want them to know their trauma, their whole life story, put the pieces together of what they're learning at home, what they're taking in at home, and then give the kids back to their children being new, great, wonderful people.
Work a stable job for 30, 40 years and retire comfortably is dead. Today, Gen Z's average job tenure is just 2 years and 2 months. Men are dropping out of the workforce in record numbers. And
once again, this is all due to patriarchy. This is all due to patriarchy. The reason why men are dropping out of it says it right here. Men are dropping out of the labor force because they're upset about their social status, according to a new study. AKA, men are dropping out of the labor force because they realize that them getting a job and having a paycheck is not going to give them a fucking wife. That's what the article is really saying. When they say social status, they're saying I'm an average man and me making an average wage is not enough for me to get a wife. It's not enough for me to have a wife appliance. So why bother?
why? Because social status now matters more than ever. This is a classic case of good times creating weak people, and weak people struggling when the system they were promised collapses.
No, this is men. This little thing, This little hard times create strong people, strong people. No, this is about men. Men have had it way too easy for way too long. Women have not really had it easy. There really hasn't been any time in the world where women have been able to get rewarded or reap any benefits. Men got to reap the benefits of just having a job. As long as I have a job, I'll have a wife, and she will cook, and she will clean, and she will take care of my child. And I can use that time to go after my career or move up in my career, go after my dreams, start a business while she's occupied with all of the domestic duties.
Everything available at the push of a button, attention spans are shot. Motivation to grind through unrewarding tasks, gone. Yet, instead of addressing this crisis, schools ignore male struggles.
No, men don't want to be in competitive fights with women. 60% of people that go to college are women. No one is telling men to drop out of no one is telling men to not go to college. They're simply not going to college because they don't want to compete with women. Because men had no problem going to college when only men could go. Men weren't complaining about college being a scam when only men could go, because only they were allowed to go. Now that it is open to both genders, and men see and understand that, oh shit, these women are becoming lawyers. These women are becoming doctors. These women are becoming CEOs. This is where all this talk about, oh, well, your college degree is useless. We don't care about your degrees. And now these men are going into trades.
Of addressing this crisis, schools ignore male struggles. They punish masculine traits and shame boys for looking elsewhere for answers. So what happens? They go where they feel heard, and that's exactly why Tate and the Manosphere exploded in popularity. But instead of fixing the system, the response is the same as always: shame and blame. Where's the school curriculum teaching young men how to be disciplined, how to build confidence, how to handle rejection?
And this is why they need to be in a separate school. Because if we put girls and boys in the same school, the girls are going to regress. The girls are going to regress a whole lot, because you're having to, like, I remember there was it was this meme, and it was like a Barbie. She was like dressed in like a little white coat, and there was like a Ken on the bed, and it was like a guy doing shrooms, and he realizes, and it was like, oh, I realized that, other people have feelings too. Pretty much saying that men that are 30 plus are coming to realizations after a shroom trip that girls knew at fucking 15 years old. But they don't want to be in a separate school. We saw this in the debate with Cooley and Princella the Queenmaker. That's what Princella the Queenmaker was trying to explain to his dumb ass. She was trying to explain to him, boys are very regressive. Boys and girls should not be in the same educational system. And he did not agree with her. He kept arguing the fact, no, we need to have boys and girls under the same school. Yeah, you want to have girls under the same, you want to have boys and girls go to the school so you can have someone to pick on. You can have someone to lust after. Because you can't live without us.
How to lead, how to be a man. It doesn't exist. They'll lecture young men about toxic masculinity, but won't teach them healthy masculinity. And that's why they're listening to Tate, not their teachers. The system.
Men don't want to listen to healthy masculinity. Healthy masculinity is all the things that men refuse to do. Be open, be honest, be vulnerable, express your feelings. That's all patriarchal. That's all goes against patriarchal conditioning. And men don't even form community. So men are never there. He was just talking about activism. He was just talking about how people go to red pill for activism. How come you all aren't practicing your activism to challenge patriarchy since you're complaining about the system?
System fails young men, then condemns them for seeking guidance elsewhere. And that's the real problem. And that brings us back to the call to action. The real red pill isn't about sitting around complaining. It's about understanding the game so you can win. If you elevate yourself, the game changes. Because let's be real, women are women first, and attraction is not a choice. Women will always gravitate towards success, whether you like it or not. So the question is, are you going to take action or just sit there? This one is for you fathers out there.
Look, I'm hungry, right? And I was gonna go and get some chips and a can of Coke. I wanted to know if you wanted to come.
You've got your case.
Yes, I know I've got my case. All right, it's nearly done now. I'm about to hand it over. I've got some free time. I want to spend it with you because I love you. All right?
Patreon supporters, salute. Manosphere, we working. Protest.
I love how he barely touched on anything in regards to the fathers. He only just brought up that situation with like the incel, but one thing that I do want to add that he once again conveniently left out in his review of the movie is that the kid that committed the crime, that kid came from a two-parent household. So they debunked that myth right there, that boys do better, children do better, guaranteed, when they have a two-parent household. Statistically, economically, children do better under a two-parent household. So a two-parent household, it will increase the chances of the child not being in poverty. That is a fact. But when it comes to how they emotionally regulate, how they deal with rejection, how they self-soothe, how they're able to form an identity, there is no, that doesn't apply to a two-parent household. What he's leaving out is that a part of that's why the last episode, they had the last episode in regards to his parents and the environment that he grew up in, showing the parents arguing, showing how angry the dad got, showing how violent the dad got. And then the dad was exposing and expressing the type of environment that he grew up in, where he grew up seeing his father harm his mother, or maybe his grandfather harming his grandmother. But he grew up in an environment where he did see abuse. He did grow up in an environment where he did see a man being very angry, being very physical, being very tough. And then also, not to mention, the child that committed the crime even said it himself when the psychiatrist asked him what he equates to masculinity. How does he look at his dad? He had said, my dad he's a sport. He goes to the pub. He plays a lot of sports. He's always gone. He's always at work. Always at work. They made sure that he mentioned that. He said, my father is always at work. So if his father is always at work, what do you think about all of the other children that are at that school? All of their parents are also at work too. So they're not there to parent them or care. That boy that committed the crime, his parents even said he would come home from school, go into his room, close the door, and be on his phone, or not on his phone, on his computer until 1 o'clock in the morning. And they were being reflective on what did we do wrong. And then his mother admitted, I would see the lights shut off, but I never knew if he cut the computer off. I never knew if he actually did anything. And yes, the father was abused, and he thought that because he was getting hit as a child, the next thing up to do was him not hitting his child. And this is what I say. Men think that good parenting is just them doing the opposite of what their parents did to them, not doing the one thing that was done to them. And that's not enough. This is why the court system very rarely, unless it is in a case of like alcohol abuse, physical abuse, emotional or mental illness or something like that, in most cases, the court is going to give the child to the mother because most men don't know how to parent properly. The way that men think about parenting is, oh, well, every single thing that my parents did to me that I didn't like, I'm just not going to do it. You didn't birth you. You didn't clone yourself and birth your clone. You birthed the product of you and another person. So your son is not going to be exactly like you. Your son is not going to respond to trauma the same way as you. Your son is not going to live the same life that you had. So you cannot be cookie cutter with your parenting based off of your blueprint. You are not your son. And this is the reason why a lot of psychiatrists on TikTok talked about this. When they have a son that isn't cool, they have the corny son, they have the lame son, and they went to high school and they were cool, they were an athlete, they got the ladies, they don't know, and if their son decides to not to conform because the Jamie, the one that committed the crime, his father tried to have him play football. And his son didn't like playing football. He wasn't good at it. And so they moved him over to the goalie, and he wasn't good at that either. And so his father got frustrated with him, and he felt and the young boy felt like he wasn't accepted because his son did not fit the mold of patriarchy or masculinity. So he's at home and he doesn't, because, and then the other thing too is that he puts his father on a pedestal. You see it at the very end when he's on the phone and he says, I'm going to take the plea deal. I'm going to take the plea deal and I'm going to go on ahead. His plea is guilty. His father said nothing. His father said absolutely nothing. And so then his mom and then his sister had to pretty much rectify the situation and have a conversation with him. And he cut that conversation super short. Super, super short. And then at the end of the conversation, you could tell that he's still trying to gain the validation of his father. Well, happy birthday, and I'm sorry, and happy birthday. He didn't, and the mother was the one that said, oh, I called the jail to let them know about your food intolerances. His father's never done that. His father didn't care or know about his food intolerances or anything like that. So he's already putting his father on a pedestal. So he's going home and he's not gaining any validation from his father. He's going to school and getting bullied by boys. He said that the boys at school would spit on him. And then he also is not getting any validation from the women that he likes. So no one is paying attention to him. The only way that he is able to be seen and feel heard and get understanding is through this manosphere and red pill bullshit. I'm at the beginning of this video, but did anyone correct her about the guy's video that she's watching being one of the men in the manosphere? Any person that makes content where it is essentially exploiting women based off of them having standards, them reaching a certain age, all of the buzzwords, hitting the wall, et cetera, that's always going to be manosphere. That's always going to, I understand he's not a part of the manosphere, but my thing is this. My thing is always this. When you're going to use women, when you are going to use women as a way to be an example to how men are having this ideology, that's always going to be manosphere to me. It's always going to be manosphere to me. That's what Fresh and Fit do. They get women on their podcasts and exploit the women on their podcast. That's what the Whatever podcast does. They bring women on the podcast and exploit and embarrass the women. MTR does the same thing. That's all manosphere. Exactly. Male coddling, victimization is manosphere. That's 100% manosphere. There's no way around it. There's no other way around it. You're exploiting women. You're exploiting women to make men self-loathe about their situation that they have no value. It's because it's not his passion. They don't understand that. They aren't going to be into shit you aren't passionate about. Exactly. So a lot of the reason why women join those shows, so I don't know how the whatever podcast does it. I don't know how they do it. The women are either paid to go on the show, and then I know for a fact F and F, usually the women that get on the show, they usually will have an OF. And so Myron understands that because these men don't get any attention in real life, they understand that incels are going to buy content because they're not able to get access to women in any other way. And so what he does is he brings those women on the podcast that sell content, and he puts their Instagrams in the description, and then their Instagram will usually have a link tree that will link people to a ton of links, one of them being some subscription of some sort to their OnlyFans, and then they're able to generate money from the very same people who have been shaming them. A lot of those women that are on the show don't give a fuck. A lot of them really don't care. Boys should all be incels until they are married anyway. Why is this a bad thing? And the reason why it's a bad thing is because patriarchy pretty much says that your value as a man is based off of your proximity to women and how many women that you are around, because they understand we're the value. If men get more value with women and having multiple of women, that means we're the value. Which one has more value? You having 10 Hondas or you having 10 Maseratis? No, we have the value, and they understand that. And then get mad when we can monetize off of our value through content creating, through S work, you just having a social media account and men DMing you. They get mad that women are rewarded for being the value, while also simultaneously getting upset when they don't have access to the value. Yeah, F was a failed fitness influencer. Most of these Manosphere creators are failed fitness influencers because men are not the value. If you're a man and you're in fitness and you're trying to become a content creator, your target audience is going to be men. It's not going to be women. That's the reason why everyone is making fun of that guy who bought bottled water and dipped and poured it in ice and is dumping his face in it at 3:00 in the fucking morning, and 7 minutes later diving into a pool. Everyone is making fun of him, despite him having muscles, despite him actually being somewhat attractive. Everyone's making fun of him because they're not the value. No one cares about that shit, especially not anymore. No one cares. So this is the reason why, in order for them to make money, they have to essentially exploit women in some type of way to get clicks and views, because they understand that it's a pain point for a lot of men. They understand that under patriarchy, most men are misogynistic. It is a pain point for men, and they can understand that they can get an emotional response out of men and make them realize, oh my God, women are the enemy because they have value and they don't like us. This is why you see a lot of men now dressing up as women and also streaming. Exactly. I think his name is Vlad. That's what he does. He literally does content where he dresses and puts on and does all that stuff. He has on like the prosthetic breasts and all that stuff, and he'll stream. He'll go out in public. I think he has like 1 million views doing that shit. Even when it comes to transgender, the most common transition is from man to woman. Most of the time, women are not trying to transition to become a man. There are no perks or benefits in most cases that women want so badly where they would want to be a man. It's usually the opposite. Exactly. Women are born with inherent value, whereas they have to build value. So they are very aware. Yes, and they hate that shit. They're very jealous. They're very, very jealous of the fact that women are the beautiful creatures. The reason why we're the beautiful creatures is because we have 2 full chromosomes. Typically, people that have chromosomal abnormalities do not have a high level of objective beauty. That's just simple biology. That's just simple genetics. I don't make the rules. I don't make the chromosomal rules that say when you have a complete set of chromosomes, you are going to be more beautiful. You are going to be smart. That's nature. That's nature. And the procedure is more dangerous because women are more spiritual. We are closest to God. Exactly. Exactly. It's not a whole lot of women out there that are willing to get their essentially get their womb get replaced by something else, and they won't be able to reproduce. No, most women are not begging. Most women are not like, oh my gosh, I can't stand this so much. A lot of the time, it's usually just hormonal. It's something that's off with them, whether on a chromosomal level or a hormonal level where things aren't matching. Something is off. All right, y'all. I'm done. I'm just happy that they didn't copyright and kick me off today. What's really strange is about the live yesterday. They never copyrighted me to clip everything out. They never did. Usually when that happens, they will send me something where it will make me clip out something, and they never did. So yeah, it probably was that DL man that saw the DL ex-husband that saw my content and was pissed. But anyway, Sovereign Sisters, I really appreciate you all for joining me during this live stream today. And yeah, don't forget, if you haven't liked the live, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Join me on Patreon if you would like exclusive content where I teach you all how to pretty much manipulate dark femininity, play the game so you don't get played. I also have one-on-one consultations if you need help with anything like that. And ladies, I will see you all next time. Bye.